Well, I think lives are at risk here when telecommunications companies don't provide a timely response to the police requests. In relation to this tragic case in Victoria, if there was delay from the telecommunications companies, we need to understand why, because that information really needs to be provided in a timely way so that evidence can't be disposed of or that the next crime can be prevented so that the investigation is not impeded. And if there is a reluctance or a problem that's obvious, then it should be sorted out, because the telecommunications companies have a moral obligation to act in a timely way and in a responsible way in the way in which their commercial arrangements operate with the police agencies. I think it's a matter of common sense, and I'd say to the CEOs who, in our private discussions, are very willing to engage with authorities, we need to make sure that that's being rolled out in practice as well.
Just on the coalition's nuclear plan, there are reports today that the coalition is considering incentives for regional communities with coal in them to replace their coal-fired power plants with nuclear. Can you tell us more about that, particularly in New South Wales and what regions you're looking at?
Well, just make this point. The government is losing 90% of the baseload power in our country over the next 10 years, not into the 2040s or 2050s, between now and 2034. There is likely disruption to power, which means, not just that your fridge goes off at home, but that the cold rooms go off at the supermarket, that we don't have reliable energy for the manufacturing process, so jobs are lost in the Australian economy. Why would we tolerate that situation? That's why I think we need to have a proper, mature discussion about how we migrate to a new energy system where we can have renewables that are firmed up by zero emissions, latest generation nuclear technology. The same technology that the government's using in relation to their submarines. And if you've got communities where you've got the small modular reactor operating, you've got less distribution costs, and at the moment the government system only works with the rollout of 28,000 kilometres of poles and wires by 2030. It's not going to happen. And the fact is that, as we've seen internationally, those regions end up attracting a greater industrial base. So that is, those small businesses and those manufacturing businesses move closer to a small modular reactor because they can get electricity at a cheaper cost. In terms of regions, we've been very definite in our advice that we're looking at about half a dozen sites on brownfield sites, those where you've got a coal-fired generator coming to an end of life, and we'll make more announcements about that in due course. But at the moment, Labor is leading us on a path where electricity prices are going to continue to go through the roof, where you'll have unreliable energy, and there's no prospect of them reaching their 2050 targets. Under our plan, you have got a credible pathway to meeting our international commitments to net zero by 2050. You've got a zero-emission technology, which is why young people are really enthusiastic about this technology. As we saw in the Newspoll results, 61% of young people between 18 and 35 support the technology because they know what's happening in Europe and in Asia and in North America. Australia is the only country of the G20 that hasn't got nuclear as part of its energy mix or hasn't committed to doing so as part of their domestic energy mix. And why is Anthony Albanese smarter than 19 of the G20 nations? Well, the fact is that he's not. And the fact is that they've got us on this ideological path at the moment to renewables only, where the lights will go out and we'll see businesses close up and move into an environment offshore where they can get reliable, cheaper power. I want those jobs here. And any promise that the Prime Minister makes to you about manufacturing and advanced manufacturing and growing jobs here, it's all a lie, because you can't deliver on it with an energy system that's not fit for the 21st century. And businesses are already talking with their feet, they're moving and they're going offshore. That's the reality of it. Thank you very much.